Welcome everyone to the Island Life Podcast, where we journey onto the island of discovery to relive some of the best and worst moments of Survivor. My name is Will, an experienced Survivor fan, 47 seasons deep, and I will be your guide. And joining us on this adventure is our rising Survivor fan with 10 seasons under her belt, and
hello, everybody.
And of course, we also welcome the star of our show. He is the brand new Survivor fan who just finished his second season of the show. I give you Survivor F.
Howdy, folks. 2 seasons strong now. Looking forward to more.
Let's go.
And now we have our second modern season or current season. We're back. We've left the past back into the present, and this whole season is definitely going to be about the pros and cons and the differences and the similarities, because it's just so different. It's like basically as different as it could possibly be.
Yeah, absolutely. It's pretty jarring going from that early of a season back into this one. And in my case, you just even starting with the season just before this, you get to see that visual upgrade, HD clarity now that we didn't really have back then. But then also just the changes in how tribes are allocated from one season to the other and how they change over time.
Yeah,
it's just
for
fast.
Sure.
Like we're moving.
Yeah. I feel like there's no time. It's like done, you're out. You're barely even like sitting, finding a little shelter, and you're done. You're done. Get out. You can't build much relationships, I feel like. Or they're very, very superficial, it feels like.
I do like the modern format, so I'm really looking forward to this season. I was looking forward to getting into it, and this will make for a good episode. We got a double feature for episode 1 and 2.
Yeah, exciting.
And before we get into the biggest moments of the episodes, let's introduce our new cast, and we'll go tribe by tribe. So far, the strongest performing tribe has been Loggy in purple. And I'll read off to you our squad. So starting off, we have Bianca, 33-year-old PR consultant from Jersey. We also have Eva, 24-year-old PhD candidate from Minnesota. We have Joe, 45-year-old fire captain from California. We have it's either Shaheen or Sean.
I think it's Shaheen.
Shaheen. Yeah.
Shaheen. So Shaheen, debate professor, also from California. We have Star, 28-year-old sales expert, is how she describes herself, from Liberia. And lastly, we have Thomas, 34-year-old music executive from Texas. So any of those, that's Bianca, Eva, Joe, Shaheen, Star, and Thomas, that stood out to you?
I feel like I'm like the rest of probably the Survivor community who like cried a little bit with Eva and Joe's like moment in their relationship. I really liked Eva from the beginning, and then from her opening her heart to Joe really made me like love Joe more. So those are the two pair that I really like in this team. Although this tribe overall I really like in general.
Yeah, I'll echo Ange's point. The tribe itself is what stuck out rather than an individual. But in terms of first impressions, Joe, from the sense that he's not only like he's got the physicality, but he's also a fire captain. So leadership is something you would expect someone with this background would excel in. I would love to see how he works his way through this season of Survivor.
Yeah, this really felt like a genuine early days alliance, because almost every other alliance that got formed, like, I don't think anyone's buying that there's staying power in those. But this one felt strong. The question is, will it be a strong bond for better or a strong bond for worse?
Yeah, I get worried because I feel like it's a strong bond that he might not want to expose out. So, and that puts Eva in a difficult position of not seemingly strong versus Joe has pull from other people, you know? Like, I think it was him, Shaheen, and is it Thomas? I think
Yeah,
that
Thomas is
had
on.
the California girls like
Yes.
alliance going
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
So he's got this thing with those guys and then got this thing with Eva. But Eva's just got Eva, it feels like. I don't feel like she's bonding with anybody besides that. To be honest, I don't remember Bianca well. I don't remember her.
Bianca hasn't. I don't think she's quite gotten involved yet. However, as I think in all the seasons we've watched, you've both pointed out, not being the star in the episode 1, episode 2, episode
Start.
3 often often is a good thing. As you're right, Star was one of the main characters in the first and second episode, and it was concerning, particularly in episode 1. In episode 1, she's the one that is off searching alone, so not just like gathering everyone to go look with her, which I think that's good. I don't think it makes sense to just bring the whole tribe with you to go look for idols. However, she fails to be discreet enough, and every other person is aware that she's off idol searching.
Yes. Like they're like, has anyone seen Star? And everyone's like, no, I haven't seen Star. Like I feel like you gotta like quickly look and go, and you can't be gone for too long. Especially since you don't wanna miss the quality time because again, there's not much time in the island until you're possibly booted off. And then you're letting other relationships get built up. And you're also building suspicion. Like they're like, where's she? She's probably looking for the idol because what else would you be doing?
All right. Will's going to hate me for this, but just got to keep the theme of those name puns going following season 7, of course. So Star was just dead set on being the star of the show, right? You know, she wants to make a name for herself. She wants to, regardless of if she's able to work well with her tribe or not, she's trying to get into the action as soon as possible. And
Mhm.
as we move on to another tribe, I think we'll see more of that.
Mhm. Yeah, Star's like, I'm not gonna be sitting around looking up stars. I'm gonna make my moves.
Yes. Let the name puns continue.
Yes.
Somehow that is relevant for this episode, which is shocking. So let's go to that right now. So on the Green Tribe, which is Vula, we have Cedric, 45-year-old surgeon from South Carolina. We have Justin, a 29-year-old pizzeria manager from Maryland.
No, your brother was on Survivor?
Nah. Pizza. No,
Looks a little different from what
if anything, I'd be the pizza manager. It'd be great. We got Kevin, a finance manager from California. We have Mary, a substance abuse counselor from Maryland. We have Sai, a marketing professional from Pennsylvania.
We're going to see that she has a lot to say.
Oh my gosh.
I love it, F.
And Stephanie, a 38-year-old tech product lead from New York City. And somehow, some way, you're talking about looking up at stars. This becomes relevant, surprisingly.
Mm-hmm.
In episode 1, just a different. The main theme here is just the difference of strategies of kind of the two ends of the extreme is taking it slow and like ultimate pedal to the metal. And Stephanie is on one end of not going too hard, focusing on the relationships in the game in the beginning and not necessarily strategic moves yet. And Say is going to be the other side of the spectrum, which is exclusively strategy, doing everything it's possible to get idols and advantages. And on this tribe, that will be the main conflict between Sai and Stephanie, and then eventually Sai and Mary as well.
Yeah, I feel like this tribe had a lot of conflicts and a lot of intense moments very quickly out of the first 2 episodes, which makes sense because 'cause they're not doing so well, so things get, it's anxious, it's stressed, not everyone's, excited to be like, "Oh my gosh, we're winning!" They don't have the winning high. They're on, the losing sadness going on.
I don't
Jeff
think
is
that's
so
necessarily a
disappointed, though.
bad thing. I think as long as you can rise above eventually and solidify your group, it's not over. So
I know, but the
Vula
tribe
tribe,
shoulders the fact that they're gonna go to tribal.
absolutely. The Vula tribe has a lot of work cut out for them just from conflicting personalities within the tribe.
I mean, they're in a pretty deep downward spiral. Things are, even it only being 2 votes so far. They've been so dramatic, and the people who were together for the first vote did not stick together for the second vote. So that's also its own thing. Like they are a mess. I think it actually will be difficult for them to come out together.
Mm.
Like for one of them or 2 of them to be successful in the game is possible, but I would be pretty shocked if all 4 of them banded together. The remaining players banded together and were a strong 4 going
Yeah,
forward.
they're not strong at all. I feel like the only people that are strong is Say and Cedric are the strongest of together, and Justin's just kinda flapping around, you know? And then, Kevin, I would I was, if we were just talking about episode 1, I would say Kevin was my favorite in this team, and I had high hopes, so high hopes, I picked him as my winner pick in our,
Oh no.
fantasy. And I was like, "It's
Oh
okay, he
dear.
hurt his shoulder, but you know me, I'm always here for the guy with the shoulders," and I was going for Kevin. I believed in him. His shoulder injury wouldn't
Just
have done anything. It wouldn't pull him back like that.
just like what, a minute into that first challenge, it just propped right up. But yeah, all I could say is we've seen some surprising outcomes, and I hope Team Vula collectively proves us wrong. I hope that they're able to get together and start working out their differences because, yeah, otherwise things are not looking good, and it would be disappointing to see them fizzle out that quickly. Only 3 episodes in. 2 episodes that we've seen so far.
Yeah, are you do you know something we don't know, F?
I just mean
Are
like
they
heading.
going out the
I
3rd
just mean like,
episode? No, I'm kidding.
yeah, I should have phrased that better. Just heading into the next episode is what I mean.
Yeah, I think that if Vula loses again, it's pretty obvious who's gonna be the one kicked out on the 3rd episode, so and then who knows what's gonna happen. It's gonna be bad if they lose 3 in a row, though.
I wouldn't be surprised. I don't have a lot of faith in them right now, and I also couldn't out of them, I don't know who's likely to go the furthest either. So it's a lot's up in the air. The main thing for this group is how successful will Say be going forward, because this is the case study of how far can you push aggressiveness and be successful. As she goes on and has a great season, that's going to set a standard of this is a viable strategy. But if she flames out, it'll be more evidence to you cannot go that hard. So everyone's gonna be watching her. It'll be very
Mhm.
interesting.
Do you guys find that Say's aggressiveness is just aggressiveness, or is it more villainous, like teetering to, Survivor villain?
I
Uh,
don't think she's done anything
Okay.
very
Yeah.
villainous yet.
it's
Mhm.
it's too early to say for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think there are things where she definitely needs to be a little bit more calm in situations, but she's still in the game. Vote's not out on her yet.
Mhm.
A lot of things can change. The thing that I'm more focused on is we're just 2 episodes in, so I'm not
That's fair.
I'm not taking anything as set in stone right now. There are early impressions, of course, but as I've seen in the past 2 seasons that we've watched, things can surprise you, and a lot can be subject to change over the course of the season. So, whatever I'm seeing right now is something where I'm sure she's learning to adapt a little bit better on the island, or at least I hope so.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, her stock, in my opinion, her stock is way low, and as is every remaining member of the Green Tribe.
Yeah.
But maybe there's people with more potential on this tribe. So the last tribe is Civa, which is orange. And on that tribe, we have Charity, 34-year-old flight attendant from, what is this? This is Michigan,
Michigan.
Monroe, Michigan. We have Chrissy, 55-year-old fire lieutenant. So that's another firefighter, basically, from Chicago, Illinois. We have David, a 39-year-old stunt performer from California. We have Camilla, 31-year-old software engineer from Toronto, Ontario, Canada.
Good old Canadian in the house.
Kyle, a 31-year-old attorney from Virginia. And Mitch, a 34-year-old PE coach from Texas. This tribe is clearly in between those two tribes, so they have not been as successful as the Purple Tribe, but a lot of it's been going well enough for them, and they haven't got the tribal force since Green's gone twice. I think David stands out the most out of all of them, literally being the biggest, and like he's doing stunts in the challenge. He is involved in the drama, like the drama on this tribe and actually the other tribes too, is with the wear advantages. So he's like in the mix in that too. I'm very curious how far David can go.
David.
I like the read that I got on this tribe. I would have said Loggy at first, the Purple Tribe is the most, but in watching these past 2 episodes, Civa just comes across as the most chill tribe in terms of just being able to have a dialogue with one another. We see that they come up with some really interesting discussions and honestly talk about things that I probably wish I didn't hear in one of those episodes. But it's all in all just a good, chill, fun tribe that, if I was part of a tribe, I'd probably just want to be a part of this tribe just to be able to have some fun dialogues.
Yeah, they're a good bunch of like good vibes. Like everybody seems very supportive to each other, which is nice. I really hope my 2 favorites are Kyle and Mitch. They really stood out to me. I really like them, and the second episode, the first episode, I forgot who Charity was, but the second episode, Charity pop up, and I'm like, okay, I'm getting some good vibes. But Kyle and Mitch, I'm hoping for the best for them.
And again, just like
Kyle,
I was saying for Joe, Chrissy also, working with a fire unit, also in a position of leadership. So I pay attention to that sort of thing, see how she's able to keep her tribe going. How those leadership skills come into play if that's something that she has a background in.
that is a difference though. Like being a leader has not been a topic, and I don't actually really expect it to become a topic of like who's the tribe leader. That's something that's pretty much been left in the past of older Survivor. Like
Season
instead,
7.
it's just who's being the loudest, and like there could be someone calling the strategic shots, but there's not usually like someone who represents the entire tribe, like Jeff would address as the tribe leader.
The way that I'm looking at it is more in terms of how effective it comes in during challenges. During challenges, we'll see that every team goes through a period where there's a lot of struggle. A good leader is able to rally his tribe members and keep them focused on the task and keep pushing them forward. We've seen a lot of challenges where the team that looks like it's the furthest ahead doesn't necessarily end up winning a challenge. And I think in a case of a good leader can really push you ahead in those sorts of challenges and push you over the top.
I agree. It's just that I'm not convinced even in that people are stepping up. It's just so scary nowadays to be loud and visible. Like,
Yeah.
if you're trying to direct traffic during a challenge, like, it's so easy to annoy someone with that or be
Mhm.
unsuccessful, and now you're blamed. So, like, it is optimal for someone to do that at a challenge, but it's just so scary to be the one that actually steps up. I
Yeah.
I
But
I just don't see it a lot anymore.
that's what makes a good leader. A good leader knows when to do that at a time where it does not otherwise distract their tribe. So that's what I mean. I'm looking to see if a good leader is someone who can adapt and essentially keep their tribe motivated during parts where things aren't looking so good, or give them the sort of motivation they need to be able to get through another challenge, to believe in themselves as they're about to get into a journey, which the leader
Mm.
might not be a part of. I think it's all these little things that come into play that also helps their social game, of course.
Yeah, I do agree on that, but also it's like if you were the leader, yet your tribe is losing, it would be like even though you're trying to be a good leader, you are still like you'll be like the butt of that. Like you are the reason why we're losing,
Yeah,
like, "Oh, shouldn't have listened to you.
absolutely.
Why did
No,
you pick him as puzzles?"
Andrew Andrew from the previous the season 7 we were watching absolutely comes to mind.
Oh,
Uh,
yes, yes, he gets blamed because
that's
he's like, "Yeah, you're right, he is. He
so
Though
shouldered
that's
it all."
though, Andrew, even if he's blamed, doesn't get voted out for it, though.
That's
And
true.
that was kind of, like, it was still risky to be the leader in those days, but it could give you, like, a buffer, like, "Okay, we won't target our leader." Now, that's probably also because the leader stereotypically is gonna be, like, big, strong guy, and we don't wanna vote out a big, strong guy, so there's a little overlap there.
Mhm.
But as we saw in these 2 episodes, oh, yeah, like, we'll just make up a reason. Anybody can be voted out any moment for any reason, even if the person who voted you out regrets it when they wake up in the morning.
Yeah. I feel like not anything could be it. You're like, "You're too good, like, I'm not gonna be able to beat you," or "You're too bad, you're pulling us down." "You're too social, you're too not social," anything can be bad, as long as you have a pull, that's it. So, I
the
think
other
anything can do that. Oh, yeah,
the
sorry.
other character out of Siva that I wanted to focus in on personally that I'm following is Kyle. I think Kyle had this within these past 2 episodes, he had an interesting showing of being upfront about certain things, but then not upfront about other things. So I'm trying to get a gauge in terms of, in general, how trustworthy is he? Because he's shown a good side of him. He's shown a side where he can be trusting of others. He can be he shows good sportsmanship, and you don't necessarily see that in Survivor. At least I have not seen that so far. So, um, really good first impression of Kyle, but he's done some
Yes.
things where I'm also confused in terms of why he's saying certain things.
So, alright, so let's go into, uh, our main things for episode 1, and the premiere, it really is the Say show, and we've talked about her already a little bit, but what we ultimately get is Say pretty much as aggressive as I've ever seen. Not just so she's off searching for her idol. She succeeds at finding the Beware advantage. She then pseudo forces 3 people to be in alliance with her. Now,
Mhm.
I mean, like, it's nice being in alliance to someone with an idol, though. Like, that's good. Like, and an alliance that's the majority, so that's also good, at least on paper. And because of that, she leaves out Mary and uh
Stephanie.
Stephanie. And before this all played out, we saw clips of her trying to specifically talk strategy with them,
Mm.
which they were not interested in, particularly Stephanie. And hey, the episode would tell us this would come back to cost them. Maybe alternate timeline, they choose to start strategizing with her, and they end up with like 3-person alliance, pull one person in, and they're in the majority. So maybe that could have saved them. But alas, they're stuck in the minority.
Yeah, it's quite unfortunate because I feel like those two was already in like Mary and Stephanie was already starting out and like just holding on, you know? I feel like it's always like this where when if you can't you just have like the little two people and then there's a majority of four or three, you're just kind of like you're just waiting to be picked off, which stinks.
Too early to just get into the sort of division. So my first impression of that was, yeah, looking to get this beware advantage, but then also already thinking ahead in terms of this is how our tribe is split up. For us, we've just seen them interacting with each other for a couple of minutes, so who knows how much time has actually passed on the island, but it's progressing very quickly and just I'm not getting a good first impression of the tribe as a whole in terms of just trying to have some cohesion.
Not at all. But not like this. It's pretty bad. Now, the facts though, like scoreboard in this episode, what Say wants to happen happens. The only thing that doesn't go her way is they don't win the immunity challenge. But other than that, she gets the advantage. She creates a majority alliance. That majority alliance works with her to like solve the beware advantage, which interesting, the beware. So this idea of an advantage that holds an idol, but until you complete the challenge, you don't have a vote. That's been around for a while. That's been basically season 41 to present day. And usually the gimmick of what that challenge is different. So this time there's these like symbols of animals painted on trees and like the equipment at camp and the oar of the boat, and then they have this lock essentially, and they need to decipher what the code. So all the instead of numbers, it's letters. So they have to figure out a word, presumably. I mean, it could have been like a random sequence, but I think to be fair, you could if you were on the island, you would assume it's a word because it'd be too mean if it was just like random letters. And that's interesting. Like we've seen a lot of different versions of this.
In the retrospect, I feel like this one was too easy for such a powerful idol. Like it's a full idol, right? Am I wrong on this? This is a full immunity idol, fully powered.
If you can succeed at the challenge, then yes.
I feel like, yeah, because the other ones, I feel like the other one was like a beware challenges. You could like give up on this, and this will be good for one like tribal, and then you could do another thing, and then you could get another one, and then do another step to get a fully
Yes.
powered one. Versus this one's just one puzzle, which every single person that ends up finding this clue ends up passing along to someone else to figure this out. And I'm just like, what? What is going on?
That's the main different thing. So the beware advantage, the idea has been the same for most of all of these new era seasons. We really pushed the tell people about your idol to the extreme here. All the people that find it tell multiple people and get those people to solve the challenge for them. And it was pretty weird, but I guess like it works. Better than not being able to do it and then not having your vote.
It's just weird. It's the first day, so why would I be trusting you enough to give you an advantage when, on the other hand, if you don't solve this, it gives me a safety net in that you don't have a vote. You could stab me in the back for all I know. You could just vote me out for whatever reason. Why am I going out of my way to help you out? We have not had a chance to fully bond. I'm just giving you all this trust on the first day and trying to help you solve the puzzle like that. Kudos to them for putting in the effort to solving it with Sai, but it's one of those things where I would hesitate, or I would try to not be as effective. I would purposely be slow in terms of helping with the challenge, just so I'm not overly obvious.
Yeah, I wouldn't try to I would help them not being like, "No, I'm not gonna help you," but I also wouldn't be like, "Oh my gosh, let's quickly, like, do this," you know? I also would want everyone to know. Like, if I was, like, your teammate and you found it, I need everyone to know so people would feel that you're a threat and wanna flush out your idol or take you out, blindside you. Because having an idol is a very powerful thing, so it's disappointing that, they didn't do a blindside for the first episode. It would've been
They
pretty cool.
they showed her trust and,
Yeah,
understanding
they
that
did,
she has leverage over them. So, yeah, I was pretty surprised, but good on her for being able to put in enough effort to be able to even solve that. So,
for sure.
I
Yeah,
agree. I think it was a little easy, but I don't know, it might have just came across that way based on what we were shown.
it's a fine line. Obviously, like if you're the producers, you want something achievable because
Yeah.
some people would find it boring if no one could do it, and then they don't have a vote, and then they get voted out. But with it being so achievable, you can do it the same day you found it. Does because some we have seen in these 8 seasons now, 8 new era seasons, there have been cases when it took days to solve if they solved it,
Mhm.
whether if it was designed that way or not. Um, Now to tell everyone about it, or to tell many people about it, it wasn't literally everybody, but she told the 3 people about it. It does like if you show me you have an idol, you are trusting me. Like, this is a bigger risk for you to tell me than it is for me to help you. Like you said, you're giving me the power. Now I have knowledge and I can genuinely help you. I could sabotage you. I could tell other people that with that secretly that you have it. So it like the person who's telling me is taking the bigger risk, that could make you feel like, wow, they really trust me. Cedric is the one that talks the most about actually like appreciating it. And he actually says, like, quote, sharing that information with our alliance, I think, secures her spot in the 4, which is him and Say and Kevin and Justin.
I yeah, I was I was thinking about the point that you just made in terms of how they're trying to balance it, and I think just off the top of my head, one thing, without getting too into the weeds here, maybe they could have had a mechanism along the lines of you have a limited amount of tries, so that makes them think
Mhm.
twice in terms of trying to figure out how to unlock it. Because if you then permanently can't unlock it, then you're stuck in a position where you just don't have a vote,
I
right? So you have
like
to be very
that.
careful with how you do it. You're not rushing to get an answer until you're fully sure.
I like that a lot. So then you don't just, like, throw in a bunch of them, and it could cause a little tension. It's like, "Are you getting this
Exactly.
wrong because 'cause you're really getting it wrong, or you're getting this wrong because you actually don't want me to get it right?"
I'd almost be worried about like I get blamed for them failing, and then Say turns against me, and if she has the 2 other people, then she might be able to. I guess she would need 3 other people actually. So the question is, does she have 3 other people to turn against me?
And I mean, think
Mhm.
about it this way, if that sort of system was implemented, she might not even tell anyone because she might be worried that if someone's trying to help me, they might not be trying to help me. They might trying to be get the locking those uses for this, beware advantage that I'm trying to get, so they're permanently locking me out of a vote. So there's some strategy in play there that could work for something like that.
Yeah. But
I would
you
like
know,
that.
short term, this turns out like it looks so sloppy, but short term this works. This works really great. Like the 3 guys she chooses to
Mhm.
tell about this are Cedric really wants to be with her, and then Justin and Kevin are debating if they really should. And ultimately, at tribal council, they will choose. They'd rather be part of that a more defined group of 4 than vote with Mary and Stephanie. So they'd be on their side, but they actually haven't created like a bond of a group of 4
Right.
specifically. And despite the criticism, if that group of 4 then voted together again, like that would make me have much more confidence in them. But we'll find out what happens with that eventually. And ultimately they're gonna choose, and I say they, it's really Say. Say's gonna choose to target Stephanie. It sounds like they had, between Mary and her, Say had more negative interactions with Stephanie, which, I mean, small sample size, but that's all you got. Literally, it's, I'm with my group of 4. I'll just pick the one that I like least or is least likely to vote with me in the future. And Stephanie's gone, and like the way Say would tell it, she got voted out because she was busy staring up at the stars instead of playing the game. Harsh,
Very.
but it looks like there is some truth to it though, based on how it played out.
I guess so, but like, it's day 1, ma'am. Like, chill, girl. Or is it
Yeah.
day 2? I don't know. I'm just like, you don't have to be so aggressive with it. Just because you have the power to like win doesn't mean you have to be so mean in regards to it. You know she's gonna be the first one out, and that hurts. So I don't know. I feel like that was unnecessary from Say.
My thoughts exactly. It's one of those things where it's just too much drama. There's things where you just don't need to say certain things because who knows? Some of the other tribes members might be paying attention to that sort of thing, and they could look at it as a situation of she's just coming out and saying that sort of thing of how she views another person in the tribe who she feels comfortable to be above. At some point, that might be me. Do I want to put myself in that position? Do I want to put myself in a position where, sure, it's good that this person is speaking their mind, but then they're really getting aggressive in their approach, and that's going to end up hurting me down, like in the long run, right? It's things that get the other tribe members thinking about the long-term strategy and play of someone's personality turning other people away from them.
Yeah, I feel like she wouldn't. I feel like Say, although has secured her alliances right now with her people in Vula, I feel like once she goes into the merge, it might not be pulled in well from the other tribes, and she'll soon know, like, hey, I'm not really like this is not the way to do it. I feel like there's certain plays, and sure, being aggressive worked for her in the first 2 episodes, and currently maybe until merge, but I feel like in merge, she might have to switch up her play a little bit because this aggression might not be well liked with 2 other tribes that are not like that.
I mean, like even within her own tribe, if everyone had their vote, she's the only other person who would currently be getting votes outside of the people who got eliminated.
Yeah.
Well,
So
and here's there is some praise to what Say did, but huge negative is she was so transparent with her plan. Stephanie, and even like the talk at tribal, she was very transparent, and so much so that Stephanie uses her shot in the dark, which often people just forget they have it at all. First of all, or they want to actually vote. Remember, you need to sacrifice your vote to use a shot in the dark. So usually people they think their plan's gonna work, and for their plan to work, they need to vote. But Say was so obvious that Stephanie uses the shot in the dark, and yeah, if that hits, Say's just gone. All her hard work for nothing. She can't use her idol, and she's just eliminated. It's terrible. So ultimately, I don't know if lucky is the right word because obviously it's 5. It's more likely that it will say not safe than safe. But she opened her up to a dangerous situation.
Yeah, I still think shot in the dark, a 1 of 6 is just not good enough. Not good enough for me to use. I guess it's my, like, last resort, but I wish it was better. Make it worthwhile. Make it
Yeah,
1/3 or 1/4. 1/6 is just like, ugh, okay. No. Not worth
uh,
it.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. Like, I wish they they cited how they decided the odds, because I'm actually great. Like, if it turns out like they did some game theory and figured out like, hey, like in order to properly balance this advantage to not make it too powerful and not make it too useless, we determined it was 1/6. I actually am perfectly fine with it. I just have a suspicion that the actual advantage is a die, and the die has 6 sides, so then they just picked 6 without really thinking. We're not really thinking about this game theory stuff. So that doesn't sit well with me. But
I'm okay with it too. I wouldn't want it to be the probability to favor too much of getting a success with that. I think it would lose some of the value. You'd have too many opportunities of people who otherwise would have been eliminated not be eliminated. I'm Jim Carrey here in Dumb and Dumber, that meme where he's like, "So you're telling me there's a chance?" That's how I'm seeing it.
yeah, well, remember, it's your all hope is lost. It's not even worth voting because I don't have enough people, so I'm just gonna defend myself once. You can only do it once in the season, and it's on everybody else to make it a blindside so that they don't think all hope is lost. And I like that idea. It's but like I said, I'm suspicious on how they actually came to the number 1 out of 6. But whatever. Now, similar story. Also in episode 1, Purple Tribe, we get Star, who also decides to immediately search for the idol, and unfortunately, unlike with Say, she ends up going and she actually finds it along with Justin, I think. Like and then she tells the other 2 guys. For Star, she's off by herself. And so far she hasn't found it yet, but if no one noticed her, this would be great. No one knows you're looking, so if you do find it, you're alone and no one knows you have it. And then it's up to you what you do with it. Sadly, she is noticed very easily. Everyone else knows, talks about it, and pretty much she does the opposite of Say, and she creates a whole other 4-person alliance that's against her. So that's not great.
No,
Yeah.
not at all. And they even thought about like she was asking for help, and they even thought about like, was it Shaheen that was telling Thomas to just throw out the hint, throw it out.
Oh,
You lost it.
It was the other way around. It was Thomas telling it to Shaheen.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah,
Right,
Shaheen
is
is
the
like,
opposite.
this
Yes.
makes me wary of Thomas if he's willing to do that.
Right. Yes, because I think Thomas did say to throw it. He's like, no, which is it a good call because it was with his hand, like, and what are you gonna say? Like an owl took it and then flew away. Like there's nothing you can do. Like Star is gonna be like, Shaheen, you're going down.
Yeah, so we can fast forward a little bit to that. So eventually Star is gonna find it, and she's gonna find it alone. But just like Say, she is gonna determine that she needs to tell someone else so that someone else can help her actually solve the lock combination. But it started off much more promising because she only tells one person. However, for unknown reasons, like and it was this is David that she originally told.
Joe.
I think
She
Joe.
tells
I think
Joe.
Joe, the other big guy. And Joe brings in another person. So then 2 people though. And that's kind of like the negotiation. I think that's Joe defending himself like, hey, like let's not have rumors be talked about us 2 working together. Let me have someone to have my back. Plus, then if I need to use it, I'll have a 3-person alliance then with Star. So Star actually has that, and then chooses separately without talking to her brand new alliance of three that she has to tell to other people. So now, and she even like I was joking in the episodes, but Star says this like, "Yep, that's it. It's the five of us." So like I've made a 5-person alliance. That means you've told everyone but Eva that you have the idol. Like this feels as sloppy as Say, but in a different way. Like she's not as, but it's very similar. I'm gonna artificially create this alliance immediately. But 5 out of 6 just feels different than 4 out of 6. Like 5 is like, what are the chances that all 5 like really think like that's right, we're the power 5. Like 4 actually feels much more natural, and 3 is like the most likely.
It was just funny to
And
compare them. You got it right. The end result really became the same there, but in terms of how they were setting it up, I wasn't even sure if Star knew what she wanted because she originally was on by herself. Then she brought Joe in, and then they were like, okay, like let's try to get someone else in. She had to essentially open up to the fact that let's bring more people in, but then that let's bring more people in became let's essentially just bring the whole tribe except for Eva in. And then Eva just ended up finding out because Joe wanted to be able to relay that to her as well. So in the end, it became a situation where the entire tribe just knew about it.
yeah, and it's caused the opposite effect. The tribe is now united really against Star. They could choose, like ultimately if they thought it was best for business, they could choose to stick with, like if they think someone else, because sometimes how this goes is like Star wasn't in our group, but maybe there's like this one person that's actually a threat. I don't think Star's a threat, so then I'll use Star to get the person out. We see that all the time. So it could go that way. But but the trend, it's really getting to me. 8 years in a row, almost 100% of people who get the beware advantage, whether they solve it themselves or not, ultimately tell multiple people about it. And as a consequence, like as a viewer, at best, okay, so now like 3 people know about the idol. But what usually happens more often is that one of those people turns out not to be trustworthy. So then that person tells other people. So now, oh no, like the entire tribe of 6 knows. And then there'll be like either a journey or even up until merge. One of those peoples is now untrustworthy in terms of the entire tribe. So now they tell the other tribes, and now everybody knows we've lost the power of the possibility of a crazy idling someone out, surprising someone with your idol to defend yourself and get them out. Now, in its place, it's happened so much more than I'm used to, is blindsiding the person with the idol. That has happened plenty of
Mhm.
times, and that
Yeah.
is great to watch. But you want both. I want the threat of being able to idle out people and the threat to blindside the idol bearers.
I agree. I feel like that's why I liked 47 so much because you had not 1 but 2 people that kept it in the dark and not say anything about it. And it was just so incredible, and I'm like, well, those 3, I mean, of course, there's gonna be possibly more idols coming out, but I'm just like, "Come on, guys, all 3? All 3 of you guys just told everybody like that?" Because I feel like it's always gonna go out. One person knows, and then if you give 2 people to know, everyone's gonna know. It's very rare, I feel like, in the beginning to have such a good, close alliance to be like, "Oh, yeah, that's amazing. I'm happy for you," and then that's it. They don't tell anybody. Versus, like, when Joe found out, Joe was like, "I don't wanna be the only person that knows this," like, and it was like, "Hey, we need more people to help you with this puzzle. Tell someone else." And then boom, we got someone else.
Yeah, so
Oh
I
man.
obviously don't have too much history with these idols, the hidden immunity idols, and so all I have here is more of an introspective question for you two. If you were in their shoes, if you were able to come across an idol, how would you react? Would you even want to pick up the idol? And if you got the idol, how would you try to take advantage of it?
Ah, I feel like saying it now is different if I was actually on it, but I would definitely pick it up because why would I not? I feel like if I don't, and then I feel like I would always think about what if and but, like I came out here to like I should play it, right? I should try to get it. So even if it's a high risk, it'd be high reward. I would pick it up and
Risking
give it a
Yeah,
try.
the no vote.
Yes, risking the no vote and trying to figure it out myself. At least for like, I don't know. If my tribe was Vula, I would be a little scared. If I was the other tribe, I would feel a little bit more better, a little confident that I have a couple days to go, to hang out and be able to figure it out. But that's just me talking from the outside perspective though, in that moment. I'm in the bottom. I don't know, man. I don't know.
I
yeah.
got
The
you.
the key is, and I know, and you've mocked them for this, but the current meta is to build your relationships immediately.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Good
promising all the,
vibes with you.
good vibes. I
Good
feel
vibes.
I I just had this connection. I got your back, ride or
I got
die,
you.
immediately,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Tell me when you hear my name, I'll tell you when I hear yours.
Because if you're in the majority, you don't need your vote. So you got
Yeah.
some buffer until it becomes. It's when you're not if you're in the minority and you're trying to defend yourself, or whether it's using the shot in the dark or maybe trying to flip somebody, do something crazy, but you need your vote to do that. And so
Mhm.
that's where it gets troubles. Or you've made one really like good relationship that you've got confidence in now. So you can work with that one person. And if your evaluation's correct, that one person won't just go and tell everybody. But of course, if you tell four other
Risky.
people, like one of them isn't your close allies, so they're probably gonna tell the last person.
Yeah, if anything, they just feel used and abused. It's like, "Oh, you're just telling me to do this brain work for you because you don't wanna do it."
Yeah, that was we. I mean, and even on Orange too. So it's Kyle,
Yes.
right? Kyle is
Yes.
like ultimately.
And Camilla, right?
Yeah, well, so he also tells multiple people, and then but it's Camilla who ended up being handed the 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 device, the lock to
Mhm.
investigate, and she's able to remember. She has a really good confessional where she describes her thought process, and she remembers all the different words she tries. So it sounds like, and I think it must have been quick because we see her on camera sitting with it at camp, like
Yeah.
at the shelter, which means she's very visible. So you're not gonna stand there with this for too long. So I think she very quickly figured out the ideas of what needs to happen and the word, the anagram, and then tries like 5 words and then gets it and then hands it back. But her reaction to also appreciating like being confided in. So there are some people whose first reaction is, "Wow, they trust me. I'm
Mhm.
happy to be included. It doesn't hurt to be in an alliance with someone with the advantage or idol, etc." So
Yeah.
there's parts of this are good. It's just it can't be good to tell everybody, and that's effectively what's happening here
Mhm.
for
This
all 3 tribes.
this was just a great showing of the Civa tribe too. So like just going back on that one hidden immunity that Kyle ended up finding, they had the best approach to it in my opinion, quite obviously based on how it turned out. But just walking back through that process, um, if I'm remembering correctly, there was a journey just before that where it was Mitch, Thomas, and Mary. They were doing a sliding puzzle challenge,
Uh-huh.
and
Yes.
Mitch returned, Thomas returned. They were both successful, whereas Mary wasn't. They all made their decisions in terms of should they tell their tribe they succeed or did they not. Mary and Mitch for their tribes ended up just being truthful in terms of, yeah, no, in Mitch's case, he got it. Mary's case, she didn't. Thomas was not upfront about it with his tribe. He didn't want to reveal his hand, so he wasn't very telling. But what we saw for the Civa tribe was Mitch was then having a dialogue with um, Charity, I believe. Charity, it's
Yes.
Charity, right?
Mhm. Charity.
Yep, that's the one. So he was talking to her. So the other 4 tribes members were worried that they were building this sort of connection. They decided, let's split up and look for that beware advantage. So that's where we saw Kyle and David walk along and start to look for the beware advantage, which Kyle ultimately ended up finding. So I think the trust that Camilla had also came from the sense that they already had this understanding before that, in that sequence, that they were going to split up and
Hmm.
look for the beware advantage. To her, Kyle coming up to her he was revealing right away that, yeah, no, I did end up finding it. Let me be upfront about it, not beat around the bush here. She, in turn, helped him through it with no hesitation. She even took in the effort to scribble down some of the letters she was thinking of directly on her leg, just scratching up her leg just to be able to get
Yeah.
the puzzle solved for Kyle. So I'm sure he was appreciative of it on his end, and she was also, even from the last episode, they were showing a good bond with one another, and you just love to see that.
Yeah, I do like it is an all around good vibe. Like when Charity was saying, like, we knew like Mitch would go and be honest and tell us, and he showed that. And I'm so happy for him. Like, it is very clear that it is good vibes from those two. I get a little worried about David, though. I know that is Will's like, oh, you're excited to see him, but I'm nervous about David. I feel like David is the negative energy in this tribe, and I don't like it. I do not like David. I actually do not have good vibes with. I think he's gonna turn it down.
As long as he's like he
What?
just has to keep it to himself. He's fine. He's thinking like everything in
That's true.
confessional.
That's
That's
true.
perfectly fine.
That's true.
It's acting on these that would
That's
cause
true.
trouble.
You know, I would love to see because I feel like I haven't seen one, or if I did, I forgot, but I would wanna see someone that's so polar opposite, confessional versus real life them in into playing Survivor. Like, they play Survivor super nice, super sweet, super, like, and then confession, like, "These idiot," or like, "I hate working with these people." You think I just wanna, like, I want someone so different, like, I don't want just a little bit different. I want a polar opposite where they are truly playing someone else in this game.
Wasn't
That would be
wasn't
fun.
Gabe like that in 47? That was the vibe I was getting from Gabe in
But he
season
wasn't
47.
that bad. He wasn't, like, that different, though, you know? I guess he would say that.
Yeah, you want Sue
Different.
to be like all lovey dovey with Kyle, but
Yes,
then in
yes.
confessional, just talk
He put my name down.
nonstop.
He put my
Yes.
name down. Like, versus Sue
Imagine
never seemed like she liked Kyle. It was
Imagine the
obvious.
other way around, like, she's super aggressive towards Kyle, but then in the confessional, she's like, "Oh, actually, Kyle's not that bad. He's actually a very
Yeah, it's
nice
like, "He's a
guy."
sweetheart. I love him so much." Yeah, I'm just trying to make him stronger, you know? I feel like this is how I can make Kyle stronger.
Love it.
Uh, just a small thing. Uh, it was nice that this is something I think I would have noticed if I was designing the Beware Advantage. I would hope I would, but they didn't make the same code be for each tribe, because one of them was listen and the other one was enlist so far that we've seen.
Mm. Oh,
Uh,
right, it was
so
different.
so good on them, because not as likely, but what if one tribe figures it out and then like at the challenge, like they share information. So,
Oh, that's true.
just to protect against that. I like that.
I also if anybody wants to play the number tiles game, if you're, like, at home being like, "Oh, this is so easy," go do it. SurvivorMinigames.com. I tried it 5 times, and I couldn't figure it out. Like, I panicked in the end. I'm like, "Oh my god, it's been 6
Is
minutes
that
already."
is that the at the journey to get the
Yes, the
advantage?
tiles. Yep, yep, you could kinda play that on the computer, and,
Oh, yeah, that's great.
at the moment, if like, when you're watching them play it, you're like, "Ah, of course, this is so easy." And then what I'm doing, I'm like, "Oh my goodness, I just messed up. Tile, wrong place, and now it's all over." My mind goes blank, and I'm like, "No."
Oh,
That
I definitely didn't think that. I'm like, "Yeah, this actually looks kinda hard because 'cause you're taking into account that they're being timed on this too, so added pressure."
Yeah, the pressure and the time limit of people that just goes down, and I'm like, "Oh my god, I can't do it."
okay, another credit to CBS then, because a lot of these journey challenges, and sometimes even the full tribal challenge that ends in a puzzle, it is hard to judge like difficulty and how well they're doing it.
Mhm.
It's even these Beware Advantage, the ciphering, it's also hard to like make it good, compelling TV. So having a virtual version of the challenge out there, that is smart. That is good. I mean, obviously, you're not gonna do that for a lot of stuff, but puzzles you can do that for. So I hope they continue doing that. That is great.
Yeah, I did like it a lot. And I actually, ironically, I was like, when I was watching it, I was like, come on, you guys could do it. I will do this, all this. And then when I'm doing it myself, I'm like, oh my gosh, no, I can't figure this out.
You
I could
eventually
do the
did get it right.
first one. F, why are you effing doing this to me? No.
And
I'm
just
trying to hype
lost her
you up. This is where you
votes.
just say, yeah, well, I got it.
No, she totally lost her vote, just like Mary.
I know.
Yeah,
I
see,
know.
now that's okay. Another small thing too. So it's time to go on the journey. So far, how this worked is it's left up to the survivors to pick amongst themselves whether they agree to send somebody or they do rock paper scissors or whatever it is. This time, the instructions force them to do their own little challenge to decide who goes. And it ends up being everyone picks a number, lowest number goes on it unless it's a tie, in which case none of you go, the next lowest number goes.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little weird, but I thought about it. I think it does make a lot of sense to at least for now, until, because this is a pretty easy game to metagame. But obviously, if you're doing it the first time, you're not gonna know. So if you don't want to go, you do not want the stigma of going on this. If you put down 5, then you are guaranteed not to go, because that's never going to be the lowest number. Now, if that might be obvious, so you put 4, and then similarly, if you really want to go, putting a 1 shows everybody else you want to go. So it depends if you're okay with that or not. So I do kind of like. There's still, it's not random, because it could have been like draw straws or something. So it's not random. It does require some strategy and more mind game strategies than rock paper scissors has, let's say. So I like it. I'll do it for 4 seasons and then change it. But I like how this was organized.
I did like it. It took me a little bit to understand. I think I had you will explain a little bit for me. Did you guys think in an alternate universe, if Say went and let's say Say didn't get it and she lost her vote, do you think that everyone would have voted her out? Do you think that they would have been like, hey, since she doesn't have a vote, this is the night? Or would it have still stayed the same? Like it wouldn't have changed anything?
So this is where I'm not clear on the rules. If she's not able to vote, could she still technically use her idol?
I think
Yes.
so.
Yep.
I think
Yep.
so.
If it's
So it wouldn't have
the
mattered.
regular idol.
I guess it didn't matter.
Now remember,
but-
she has to see it coming. So she can't. That's the idea of blindside. If someone has an idol, one of the best chances to get them out is to trick them into not thinking they're going home, and thus they don't think they need to use the idol. They go home. That's the plan. I ultimately agree with you, F. They would have failed at getting her out, because even in the current timeline, it leaks that because she is being targeted. Even with her vote, she's being targeted. And the information comes out because Cedric tells her, and then everything changes. And just for good measure, she ends up using her idol, even though it turns out that she's not the target, like when it's all said and done. So I think, yes, she would be a target still. However, it would fail. She would use her idol. She would use her idol because Cedric or someone else would tell her that she's a target, and then she would say, which is,
one thing I wanted to highlight, even like for like this little challenge for determining who goes on the journey. Again, our friends at Vula, Say makes it very clear what she wants to do. She, subtlety is not her thing. When she realizes that they have a practice round, and I believe she won the practice round. So she initially is opting to go, and then when they're actually doing the real round, Mary ends up winning. She's very visibly upset over that. It's not something where she's being subtle about it, and that's one of those things that I watch out for, that, like, that it can work for you now, like, you have an idol, like, things are going your way, you have what seems to be a majority, but there's times where you just have to be subtle, like, you can't be open about this stuff, it's gonna bite you in the back.
Yeah, she started playing it off as, "Why did we let her go?" That part true, like, obviously, if you truly are a group of 4, then you should be
Mhm.
doing all in your power to not let the person who's not in your group go on this, but she can't contain herself, and it goes she just has basically, it's a temper tantrum ultimately,
Yeah.
she's pouting about it.
Mhm.
So not a great look. Like technically okay, but just the way just how she's presenting herself is not good. And eventually, it won't even be that necessarily don't trust her. I'm just like, how effective is any plan I make with Say gonna be when she cannot contain her emotions? Like even if you are my number one, you might ruin our plan by not being able to control yourself.
Huh.
Yeah, and
Uh,
she showed it
Yeah,
pretty clearly that she can't, even though Cedric is like Cedric before he was like, "How good are you at controlling your emotions?" Like, "I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell
you
you
get to ask
something."
her
But
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
and she was like, "Oh, I'm good," but then it was not good. It was not good at all.
And keep in
and
mind, Mary actually is it's not like they're blindsiding her that, "Oh, okay, we'll vote you out." She very much is aware of the fact, only on the second day, that she is the weak link here. Part of it obviously is due to her voting Say the previous episode, but the other part is that there's that not so subtle approach of, yeah, like, you're kinda have our group here and you're not part of that group.
yeah. So so ultimately it's so it starts off it's gonna be Mary because it's 4 against 1. Then it's Kevin that has decided what's best for him is to get Say out now. This is this is an opportunity where she does not expect to be a target, so she is likely not to use her idol. And with her gone, Mary will be grateful. Justin is already on my side,
Mhm.
and Cedric, I mean, probably also, to be honest, like I don't have anything against Cedric. That would be that would actually be a powerful 4. So that has to be what he's thinking. But he does not correctly identify that Cedric prefers to be with Say than to prefer to be with him. And it all falls apart and backfires because we just talked about it. Cedric goes to Say and he makes a big fuss out of it. You said like, "Oh, could he? How good are you controlling your emotions? Keep your secret." Blah blah blah. But ultimately, he's just saying like, "Hey, like your name came up," and he wants this whole like, "Okay, the votes are gonna be against you, but you'll be fine. You should use your idol, and then I will get out." Um, Mary still is, I think he's saying. Say is actually say was like, why not just go for Kevin if he's targeting me? But I think like Cedric's plan A is still bouncing on Mary, and
Mhm.
he tries to give Justin that instruction too, like, hey, this is what we're gonna do. And Justin also is like, why make this weird? Just let's just work together then. And if it's gonna be Kevin, it's gonna be Kevin.
Justin, like, why? I was so like, "No!" I might be biased because I was really into Kevin and I thought Kevin would do really well, but, it just hurt. I thought they were doing really I thought that Justin and Kevin, like, were close enough that he wouldn't do that, but honestly, Justin just shows me he's just following the crowd. He's too afraid. He's too afraid to make moves, and he was afraid Kevin's gonna make a move and then, I don't know, claim it as a good game, and I'm like, "Dude, guys, it's episode 2."
Yeah, I don't know. I guess like this is just the Kevin Justin just didn't we talked about the day one bonds. They didn't the day one bond was not strong enough to do it.
Yeah.
Now that there's a little bit of math going on here too. So Cedric is coming to Justin with a plan that he and Say are going to do. So if if that plan involves him not like if it involves Cedric and Say voting together, then the most Justin could do is vote with Kevin to make a tie, since
Mhm.
Mary can't vote. So it actually could, it really could just be I don't want to make a tie. That like those words weren't said, but that could be part of it. He didn't seem to try to convince Cedric to vote a different way. Like he could have said like you, Kevin, and I vote for someone, whether Say or Mary, but they seem content with like path of least resistance. You two are already on the same page, so I'll just
Yeah.
vote with you, and thus
Yeah.
we will succeed.
Didn't want to rock the boat.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like, when you rock the boat or you try to, like, change it up a little bit, it was over. Like, when Kevin was telling Cedric about, like, trying to be like, "Hey, we should take out Say," I was like, "Kevin, no, no." I just didn't it just hurt to see it.
And Say this also probably doesn't truly count as lucky because it was more likely that Say wasn't going to go on the journey, but because it was Mary that went and not Say, it allowed the opportunity for Mary to lose her vote, which she did. And now, if she had her vote, Kevin could have just involved Mary and Justin only to blindside Say, and that might have worked. But without her vote, it was a much simpler outcome
Ugh.
ultimately. So we lose Kevin. Farewell.
I know, and the Kevin looked at Mary too during that time, and Mary's like, I don't know, I didn't vote. I
Yeah, that's
didn't have
funny.
my vote."
Yeah, Mary's like, "What do you think? What do you think I did?"
Yeah, yeah. And can we just talk about the second night of them being in tribal, they're still fighting. This group is just it's just Say fighting with someone else. It's Say Stephanie, Say Mary. They just fight and talking about playing an honest game versus dishonest game, which I'm like, what? I'm like, has anybody in Survivor played a full honest game
It just
ever?
it just yeah, it just shows me that I don't know if we're just not on the same page with Cedric, but what Kevin had mentioned was that Say is just a dangerous player, the most dangerous that he saw in Vula, and that's why he was trying to vote her out. I would agree with that. I think long
Mhm.
term, at least how she's played within these last 2 episodes, are not a winning long term strategy, and it's just a matter of Cedric coming to understand that. It was one of those things where they had failed this previous challenge, and Kevin came up and actually talked to Cedric, and he gave him reassurance that, "This doesn't make me wanna vote you out, like, this doesn't define who you are to this tribe." And, you know, to 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 listen to someone say that and stick true to that, he didn't actually try to vote out Cedric. That's one of those things where if I'm Cedric coming back from this tribal, I'm really reassessing how, like, my relationship is set up in here, because if it's with Say, she's essentially the domineering force with her. She's the domineering force, and I'm essentially going to be her number 2. I'm not even in the top position there.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm curious how it's all gonna play out. I mean, now because things went differently, it really is all up in the air. Without an idol, Say is vulnerable. However, Cedric just bought himself a whole lot of trust from Say
I know.
because he just warned her, and he was right? Because she gets a vote from Kevin, so she knows that Cedric was telling the truth. There was a plan against her. So so if you actually have her trust, that's like the most valuable thing to have out here. It's just a convoluted way to get there.
Yeah, I think the trust is good, like, to have very important to have, and I think Cedric and Say have that. However, I'm confused in regards to Say is a dangerous player in terms of it's dangerous to work with you because, 1, you will babble out, "This is alliance of 4," to the when we meet the merge and we're gonna be picked
Yeah.
off, like, bam, 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 like, all of them are gonna take us out, because when you go in the merge, you don't wanna be like, "Oh, I'm really close to, like, F and Will here, like, we're like us, we're like top 3, man." Like, no, you don't want that. You wanna be, like, with other people. So I think that's how I thought he meant by dangerous, but did Kevin meant dangerous in terms of, like, you're gonna win dangerous? I think I
He
misunderstood what he
he just
meant.
said dangerous. He just said she's a
Yeah,
dangerous player. He didn't really
yeah.
elaborate further.
Because yeah, that's what I'm, like, wondering, like, what he meant, because I don't when you say, like, if it's, like, dangerous as in, like, she's gonna be really good, then that means you see Say as the top 3. Like, she's gonna be the top 3. But I don't even think she would make it far to merge. Maybe I'll take it back after, like,
No,
episode
Oh,
8,
that
but, like,
that's
but,
no,
you
that's
know, I don't know. I don't know. I
that
might
was
be
my
wrong.
assessment. That was my assessment. Like, that's how I'm viewing her myself in terms of
Mhm.
she has some things that are self-destructive, dangerous
Yeah.
in the sense that she's more harm as a team member than maybe someone else.
Yeah.
Quite honestly, I think Say could be a really good Survivor player.
I agree.
If she just had more subtlety. Her
Yes.
lack of subtlety is what's gonna be harmful
Yes.
towards
I
her,
think
and
she
her
has a good thing
inability
going on.
to contain those emotions,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
gonna
I think
work against her.
yeah, I think she has a good thing going on within a lot, like, she has alliance of 3 really now, but if she could go strong with those 3 alliances, with the 3 people, it's good, but that means that she can't be as aggressive as she is in this team. I feel like when you go into merge, you play differently than when you are just in the beginning of your tribe. There's a difference in play, and if Say can do that, yeah, she could be good, but I don't know. I don't think she can. But maybe she proves me otherwise, and I'm gonna be like, "Oh, Say, you're amazing."
I'll mark that down. You
Yes.
view Say as a 0.0 chance
No.
of winning. We shall see. I mean, to be honest, but like predicting someone to have no chance is a safe bet, right? Like it's a 1 out of 18
That's
chance
true,
to win.
that's true. I mean, I obviously have not been right as I thought Kevin would make it very far. Clearly, I'm very wrong. So, yeah, it sucks, but it seems like a lot of people in our Survivor League also voted Kevin, so I don't feel as bad that I lost Kevin week 2.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what week 2, well, week 3,
Yeah.
episode 3 brings. Um, so with that, we lost Stephanie and we lost Kevin. Does your heart yearn to see either of them again in a future season someday?
What a question.
Yeah.
Well, we barely really got to see them, so if they need to have a really good hook in terms of who they are, which I don't think either of them had. So, I would say no.
Yeah,
Sad.
I don't yeah, no. The only thing I would remember about Kevin is he hurt his shoulder and I yelled, "Shoulder! Shoulder's back! Shoulder puns are back!" But
Good riddance. Good riddance. I need him gone. No more
no.
shoulders. The
All
curse of
right, star,
shoulders.
you better stay for long. You better be the
Please.
star of this show. I need to keep on going.
Say as
Oh
well, you can do a
boy.
lot with,
Oh, right. Lots
uh,
to say. Yeah, yeah.
you know what I'm
I'm glad
saying?
you say that. Yeah, I'm glad you yes, I know what you're saying. Amazing.
The last bit of just housekeeping is with the hype building for season 50, which we are hearing is supposed to be a returning season for returning player season. But I mean,
Exciting.
Jeff could change his mind, whatever. That's why I mean maybe Kevin or Stephanie could be on that. We don't know. But as we build up to it, they're 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 branding it as the like the fans choose the format of the season. So I was curious if how you would answer these questions. The first 4 questions posed to us fans. The first was just tribe colors, which that's kind of whatever. But usually the colors are just red, yellow, blue, or green, purple, orange is what tends to be. So they're like different combinations of those 6 colors.
Yeah, I want a pink. I want pink, sage green, and, baby yellow.
Okay. I can't remember if pink was one there because it was like a big color and then like 2 smaller colors. So I think maybe it's like primary, secondary, tertiary colors. So that was on the list. Not much like to fully talk about there. The question of rice or no rice was on there. So right now they barely get any rice if any, and they're kind of like starving a lot of the time, unless they're able to fish, like eat coconuts kind of thing. Uh, I personally voted for them to have rice because
Oh?
fed survivors have more brain power to their strategies and not go crazy, and they can have a better challenge performance.
I like
So,
that.
so I vote for
Agreed.
rice.
Yeah, I would
Yeah,
agree with you there.
I'm down with the rice because it also, there's tea when it comes to rice too. It's like, are they sharing it? Who's eating it? Someone might be eating a little too much of the rice or, can cause a little bit of a rift, but also, yes, more energy. They're just not eating just coconuts.
There was also the question of you've now both seen it. Either do the live reunion show after the season, so they all come back, or reveal the winner in Fiji, which is what we saw in 47.
Definitely.
1,000%. There you go.
I was just gonna say definitely the island reveal. Like I
Wait,
think
so the right away reveal?
yeah, because otherwise like you're just waiting a couple of months for the reveal.
I'm not waiting a
Like
couple months. I know right away.
That's true. The audience doesn't suffer, but the people playing certainly
okay.
suffer.
But still, I think keeping with the theme of you're surviving, you're on this island from start to finish, I wanted to be on the island.
Fair enough. I actually am the opposite. I love the idea of the live reunions because I hate the fact that the person, the second and third player is there, like they're like going through this loss in front of everybody. They're celebrating the winner. They're asking questions. And I also like how the live reunion, they could go back to what is watched and what is being aired and then like kind of talk about it. Be like, hey, you did this on this day, da da da. Like there's more better questions to be asked, I think. And maybe ways people can defend themselves on a bad edit
You know what?
or a good edit.
You have me thinking about it twice. And I think the other thing that I'm starting to consider now too is we have someone like Saul who, as soon as he's part of the jury, just came back looking like a model.
Oh,
You can get to
yes.
see
Oh,
what everyone
Saul.
looks like in casual clothes too, which is a good indication of what their backgrounds are like. So
Mm-hmm.
it gives you a little bit more variety in terms of each survivor who returns.
Yeah. And seeing their family member being there. And
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
You'll also get everybody and not just the jury and the winner and the final three.
So I clearly didn't think that question through. I think, yeah, no, I'd be convinced otherwise on that one.
Okay, but can I sway you back? What about the perspective that if you do it right away, you are getting genuine, unfiltered, uncoached reactions? Whereas if you watch the whole season, they know what America thinks and the world thinks, and they can like curate
Yeah.
their answers accordingly.
Well, that was my original thought. And I was thinking that in line of there's going to be a delay in terms of how we're going to like, I don't know why I was thinking that we would be waiting like a couple months to actually get that, but like that was just a misinterpretation on my part. But yeah, no, that was the other thought that was swaying me towards that originally, that it is going to be a more genuine interaction because it's the raw emotions. You're on the island, you're trying to figure out how to survive. You win, someone's going to go up and do that Ray Lewis scream that Gabe tried to do that one episode.
Yes. Well, did I sway you back? Are you back for
No,
Fiji?
I think in considering
Good.
that for us viewers, things wouldn't change. The live show has some added spice to it that defeats the raw, genuine emotion for keeping it on the island.
I agree.
Fair enough.
1,000%.
I voted for the live reunion in Los Angeles.
Nice. Let's go.
But
And
does
the
it
last-
have to be in Los Angeles, though? Could you be swayed to have it be in, like, New York City or something?
I'll take it in New York. Not that I think you can get tickets. I don't even know how you need like connections to get tickets.
Ugh. Time to make those
in
connections,
the little,
Will.
In the little like poll, or not poll, the survey, it called out Los Angeles. And the last question was whether to keep the Final Four fire making challenge or get rid of it. So that's just a regular vote at the Final Four. And I voted to keep the Final Four fire making.
I feel like I would want to
Well done.
keep it, but I would want to tweak how it's done. So if it's just either you have it or
Nope,
if you
it
don't,
was an either or. Jeff is only
yeah.
gonna
So
say it either stays
I
exactly the same or it's gone.
I mean between those two, yes, I guess I would keep it.
I don't know. I'm a little I think fire making now seems more symbolic in regards to like fire is your life, once it's gone, you're gone. So I'm like, maybe yes, I should. But then I remember how the wind just like went crazy on Teeny's fire, and I would be raging if that was
Yeah,
me. So I think ultimately for some symbolism and it's a big 5-0, sure, keep the fire making.
they got to make sure they do fire making in that season now on a rainy day.
Yes, rainy day tornadoes just coming at them. It's do or die.
You gotta dig deep as the
It's
people
like I
been
know
going
the
over.
elements are against you here, but like this is the fire you got to create.
Mhm,
Now,
mhm.
I listened back to our season 47 finale to listen to our thoughts on this and to remind myself. And when it comes down to is I have no faith that with a normal vote we are going to get a satisfying final three. So the people have final tribal, because I think the person who is most likely and deserving to win will get to final four and just be voted out by the other three. Because now in present day nowadays, all 18 players are huge Survivor fans. They know the game and they know the strategy. Even if the elements makes them do crazy things, like they know what they should be doing,
Mhm.
and they just sometimes fail to do it. So I I think we're just gonna lose our best player, and uh, even though I think all of us would prefer something different at Final Four, I don't want nothing at Final Four.
Mhm.
And hence, between those two options, keep the fire ring.
Yeah, I don't remember what I said previously, but I think I wasn't into fire making. But now I'm more stuck on the symbolism route. Symbolic. Fire.
I'm trying
Yes.
to remember what I was saying. I was saying that like I like probably yeah, like what it symbolizes, like the culmination of what it means to be a survivor. But I was joking around. I was like, it would be funny if they had like some sort of master chef element where you make a fire, but you have to create something with the fire, or like it
Yes,
turns into a
yes,
cooking show.
that is what you wanted. Uh, so we'll see. If I had to guess, though, I think Rice is gonna win. Live reunion show is gonna
Mhm.
win, and fire making will get removed. That I think that is just like the what people talk about online. I think those are three that are gonna
Yeah.
Interesting.
So without fire making, what happens is it's kind of like Seven, where they just pick is this final two? Is that what it is?
win.
That's gonna happen then, or no?
As far as we know, it's the final three. Now,
Oh, okay.
who who knows? Next, I mean, it could be, next vote could be like, do you want there to be a final two or a final three?
Mm-hmm.
But unless something changes, it's a final three, which has been the standard for quite a long time now.
Gotcha.
So it would be 4 people voting. So it's either going to be a 3-1 vote or it's going to be a 2-2 tie.
Hmm.
Okay.
I think it's just not fair to make it as a vote thing in the final four.
A tie that probably would get broken with the fire making.
Fire
Funnily
making,
enough.
yeah, yeah, with the fire, which is symbolic again. Got to go back to that. I also want to point out everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, Joe," and like there's two firefighters in this one, and everyone's like, "Oh, they're so good. They're going to be great at fire." But like they're supposed to like distinguish fire. They're not supposed to
Oh
like
yeah.
make fire, guys. But I'm sure Joe
Oh,
and
they must understand
what's
all things fire.
extinguish. Yeah, I'm
I
sure. I'm
think
sure they know how to
yeah.
make fires. But I'm like, guys, they're supposed to extinguish the fires. Did we forget
I think
about
what
that
Will
part?
just said there is important. I think their understanding is that like because more than the average person they work with
Yeah.
fire, they have a better understanding of how fire is even set up. So
That would be unfortunate if it turns out like no, they really don't have any fire making skills, but people assume they do, and they get voted out because of it. It would be so sad. And you're like, no, you gotta believe me. I don't know anything. I've never built a fire in my life.
You hear the saying, you fight fire with fire.
Yeah, that's true. Fair.
But okay, so we got through it. Episodes 1 and 2. We're off to a bang. It's really, this is for better or for worse, but like the main stories are all the Beware Advantage idols. That's really what's driving everyone's making decisions circling around those. That's like the catalyst. And for people that don't like advantages and idols, I mean, this is, if you found the episode interesting, it was interesting because of that. The question is, would it also have been interesting without them? It would have been much more like relationship building and creating alliances, and that would have been, instead of say forcing a 4-person alliance because she found an advantage, she would have had to decide, do I approach the guys and just tell them like, let's stick together? I'm curious if for season 50 one of these surveys is going to be, how many advantages do you want? And the answer could be 0. That would be so interesting, because I think
everyone
that's gonna,
looking.
yeah, I feel like what's gonna win all these polls is just the old way, because people usually like how things were in the past. But we'll see. But all right, folks, that's it. Thanks for listening in. Happy to be back in a present day season, and we will continue with season 48, episode 3 next time. Until we speak again, ciao.